Welcome back to Made Up of Wires, where if I can work a mouse, I'll get the music down. There we go. We're decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night. You can go to soten.z to learn more about it. You can find a link to source code and a link to Discord. I haven't been around the last couple days. Been busy doing other things, not decompiling. But we're going to do a little cleanup for the stuff we did in the past week or so. And then I think that'll be it. It's going to be a short stream today. But I appreciate anybody joining chat or watching later. And if you like what you see or you want more, like and subscribe. Before we get going into the cleanup, though, I want to talk a little bit more about the project that I've talked about a couple times. I think I've settled on a name now. Sykes, however you want to pronounce it. The analog to SciQ. And so this is a library for reading SciQ library and object files. It can extract them, it can give you some info, and it's also a library for reading them. And I'll have some more documentation. There's some changes, and I'll get this pushed to crate.io at some point. But it's worked out pretty well. I've generated a bunch of test cases from the original binaries and comparing my output to the output of the original binaries, and for the most part, it's identical. There's some British English spellings that I've corrected to the appropriate American versions, like uninitialized. The one thing I'm not sure about, the version that's currently up there, but not my local branch, it has dates in month, day, year form, which is, of course, the American way of doing it. But everywhere else in the world, I think you all use the day, month, year, which makes a lot more sense. I think I'm going to change the default to day, month, year, but it might be locale-based as well. I do have some spelling changes that are locale-based. But in general, it's worked out pretty well. I think that this is the most comprehensive open source SciQ and SciQ object and library implementation now. I haven't found anything that's nearly as complete. So if you want to take a look at it, give me feedback, send your pull requests. We've been working on the pendulum, and I realized as I was going through this, we are building for the PlayStation and the PSP, but we're still using different files for the two. So I'm going to go through and combine those files. And I think that's going to be most of the work. Maybe I'll get the entity extensions corrected. And I think that's what we'll do. So we're going to go to... First, we're going to start with the PSP. So we're in NZ1 PSP pendulum. And we're going to open that right next to the PlayStation version, which is the same thing, but without the PSP directory. Obviously, this is not necessary for PSP, and I think that's all in the header file at the moment. Still need to get build all as the default. So what I want to do is do a diff between these two files. I think the only thing that's different is this global, but there might be a few more things. So let's do a diff and figure out what they are. And I want to get this to be as close as possible. So we have one extra extern down here, but yeah, I think that global is the only one. So if we only have one global, we might as well map the data. And so let's do that. G-E-init environment. I now have that in the stage header, so I won't need that. So I think we only have that global. Where'd my diff command go? There we go. So we have the header difference, obviously, because they're in different paths. But then the global symbol name. So there's a couple things I could do. I could map it, and I'm going to do that so that I can run it from either side. I could just map the symbol to the appropriate address on each system, but I don't want to. What I want to do instead is import the data. So we're going to go look, and then we'll get all the splits for the data as well. And that is done. Hey, Roman, good to have you back. I'm going to open this in a new tab. Oop. Didn't get it quite right. So we have the FEC data, and if I remember correctly, basically this is triples, and it's not clear to me at this point. I'm guessing it's just this top data, the 1C0 through C00. I think that's it. And if I remember correctly, we either access that through index 0, which actually we could get rid of that altogether. That should work fine. Or we increment it and go to the next one. So that's pretty easy, and it's static. So we're just gonna have 2 entries here. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna copy. I'll do line copies, make it easier to paste, and it still breaks. I'll worry about the formatting later. So now we have to go split the data. We're gonna go to config splat USSTNZ1. We're gonna look for the FEC split, which is already there. We need to make a new one, and this is gonna start at FF8. And now our data is gonna be coming from E pendulum. And that looked good. So now we know where or what the shape of this data looks like, and it looks fine here. We're going to go do the same thing on the PSP side. Got to add a whole bunch of underscore PSPs as we go. I need to find it first. And I didn't grab the symbol name, which I should have. Let's look for OX0250. Maybe 0028. No, that's 40. Let's try 250. That's a weird number. And we only have it one place. And it looks like, in this case, it's getting padded, which I'm not surprised about. But it looks like we have that data. So 49770 is the equivalent for the PSP. And our new data section is going to start at 49780. Ooh, and now what to do? We should get this from NZ1 pendulum, but until I know that it's working, I'm going to still stick with NZ1 underscore PSP pendulum. And we'll make this static. I like to go on these baby steps, because if I screw something up along the way, they're much easier to debug. And that worked fine. So basically, these files now are still the same diff as before. We just have a symbol name difference. Are these pendulums doing real physics? For some value of real. Yeah. Just gonna check this one more time, make sure that this compiles. Yeah, that works fine. So now I can move over, get rid of this PSP specific file, and have PSP use the PlayStation 1 as well. If I could spell. If I can't spell, this will never work. Alright, so instead of going to the nz1_PSP directory, it's going to go to the nz1 directory. I'm going to build again. And I don't expect anything surprising. But that was everything that was needed. And now this nz1 specific PSP file can go away. I've made a bunch of changes here, so Git is saying, you did a bunch of work. Do you really want to get rid of it? And yes, I do. And I'm going to add, see what we have. We have all the gear stuff to go over as well. I haven't submitted a PR for that yet. I don't think I want to get rid of that quite yet. Know what I was doing in Breakable Bridge. Okay. I'll worry about all that later. So the next thing is, so now this PSP file is gone. We don't have to worry about it anymore, and we can do everything in one area. So we have a bunch of illegal entity extensions. So we need to take care of those next. What is the best way to do that? I'm going to write a sed replacement, and I'm going to look for ext illegal and everything but a space or a semicolon, as many of those as we can find. And I want everything after that until the end. I want everything before it until that ext. Okay. So I have all that, and now what do I want to do? Actually need to capture... I don't need to capture anything but the middle. That was dumb of me. And we'll start at the front. All right, so what are we replacing with? We're replacing with our capture. Don't want the bracket. All right, and so the reason for doing that is so that I can sort unique. And now I have all of the individual ones. I'm going to go find this OXD, replace those with 12s. No, I can't do that because OXD is 13. That would have been bad. Oh, XC has 12. Just make sure that I didn't screw up anything in the process. All right, so now let's do that again. So we have signed and unsigned differences on 13. So let's make all of those signed. If one is signed, usually they all are signed. And for things like assignments, it usually doesn't matter what the sign is. Let's see if we got that again. And build all, make sure that everything is working. So PSP and PlayStation are still working. Now the painful part where we're going to induce rebuilding the entire thing many times. So let's try to get it right the first time. So we want... we want an entity extension that fits all of those fields. So we have to go through and calculate the offset of all of those from 7C. It's kind of a weird set of offsets. None of them are like necessarily close by. Like why start 8 bytes in? So we have to, first we have to shift by 8 bytes. Oops. Pressing buttons. And that gets us to our first unsigned 8 here. At offset 84. And let's see how that is used. So it's a collision flag, so we'll call it collision. And now I think we'll need 3 bytes of padding. So I'll pad this out. Oops, the correct way, 24 bits. And that gets our first one. So each of these has to be doubled because they're all shorts, which are 2 bytes. 26 is what, 18? No. 1A in hex. 1A. 16 is just 10. 24 is 18. I should just use a calculator. Yep. And 18 is 12 in hex. So we need to add all of these offsets to 7C. Yes. Not only is it an absurd amount of code that they wrote in less than a year, but the Symphony decompilation project, I think, started in 2022, and it was only a single person in 2022. And now it's probably about the size of the original dev team, I would think. But we've been working over a year to get back to what they originally had. We had a few more hurdles to clear, but yeah, it is crazy. So let me put these in order. All right, so 7C plus, so 8C is our next stop. So we're going to pad out another 4 bytes. And now we have our sign 16 here. Let's see what that one's used for. Sine 16, 8. This looks like a pause or offset X. Let's call it offset X. And then right next to it at 8E, we have offset Y. I should actually be doing, I should make a comment here that this is U88. This is S16, 8. And this one is S16, 9. So then we have 10 and 11, which are not used. So that's another 32 bits or 4 bytes. Make them all unsigned. And so now we're at these next ones. Let's see what those are used for. So 12 looks like it's part of a rotation. We have angle here. So I'll take angle. I don't know if that's the best name. We call it rotation down here. Should we call it rotation or angle? Either one is basically the same. Let's look at what 13 is. This is so I think one of these is going to be oh, this one is specifically for the weight. And the other one is possibly for the chain. For each of the chain links. So I think we have the chain angle and the weight angle. And which one is which? Nobody knows. Yeah, we do. I think I think 12 is the chain angle. And if I'm wrong, people will be confused for millennia. That's okay. And then this one we'll call weight angle. All right. So if I've done everything correct, which who knows if that's true. Right now, we haven't touched any of the code. We've not used any of these fields yet, or this particular entry in the union. So nothing should change in this, should build fine. The only thing that this is doing is basically rebuilding everything else that depends on that entity.h file to get a clean build. And then we can kind of incrementally go through. And that way, if I did make a mistake along the way, it would be caught right away, and it wouldn't be mixed up with my changes in this C file. Hey, Dizek, good to have you back. Good to have everybody back. I didn't say that. All right, so now we're going to go through and use the right keys to change ext illegal. And we'll start with, since 13 is here, I'll start with that. 13 is now going to become ext pendulum weight angle. And for my own sanity, we're going to build again, and that all worked fine. And we're going to go chain angle for offset 12. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself, honestly, that I got all those offsets right the first time. Good job, self. All right, next one is offset Y, which is going to be 9. And offset X, which is going to be 8. No, won't build all. And the last is collision. These, I think, in general, are easier to do in decomp.me, but I don't, especially when doing PSP at the same time as the PlayStation, I don't really like managing the context between the two. And so I tend to do it this way. But anybody can work however they want, and so if you think this is a stupid way to do it, you're probably right. I'm going to look at, I just want to make sure that I have all the new gear stuff, yeah. And I guess I don't need that anymore. I do like, so sometimes I'll do this in decomp.me and then I forget about it until I go to submit a PR. I'll put these placeholders in there to track the registers. And did I get the entity already? Apparently I did. It's not stupid if it works. It can work and be stupid. Stand by, stand by. All right. So let's look and see how this PR is looking. So a couple weeks ago, we were working on the gears and found that the gears were actually separate files for each of them. And so we had to split all those up. And that's what all these entries are here, is taking the singular e-gears puzzle, or e-gears file, and splitting them into each of the individual gear files. And how do we know that they were separate files? Because of the order that they're included. In the PSP, they're in a different order than the PlayStation. And so when the functions appear in a different order, that's likely because they were in separate files. So we have all of that work done. And I think, but I'm not 100% positive, I think the PSP files are imported alphabetically, sorted first, but not quite sure. So we have those splat changes, we have a minimal number of symbol changes, and then I need to clean up this as well, get rid of these comments. Those are unnecessary, but that'll force a full rebuild again. I'm not sure why I have breakable bridge changes. Maybe I have an earlier commit with that in there and I haven't submitted that. I can't remember. Some minor formatting changes for all of this. And then we have all the gear stuff. Yep, that's there as well. So I think yeah, it looks like I do have breakable bridge in this PR. So I'm going to run. We have a bunch of targets. I say it a bunch, but code quality in general on this project I think is reasonably high, especially for the type of project it is. And so we have a bunch of linters that go through and make different things. And you can see the work some of them did. Play sound effects positional. That'll get replaced with its enum. Draw flags. Those get replaced as well. Real nice stuff. Real happy with that. That function looks like it's decompiled now, so the symbol is no longer necessary. So as symbols get decompiled, we don't need this link anymore between assembly and the C code, which is kind of what the symbol table bridge does for us. And so we have a symbols script that'll go through, look at all the symbols in this file, determine if any of them are being referenced from data or code that hasn't been decompiled yet. And if it isn't referenced from either of those, it'll delete it from this file. It'll also sort them by their address. I'll want to change that later. And then this, I need to follow up with the MWCC Gap project to see if they've... So I have a custom version of MWCC Gap, which allows me to just recompile the files that have changed based on the headers. But it implements MMD and GCC dep by extracting those files. So the MWCC Gap is a wrapper for MetroWorks C compiler that allows you to include ASM and embed ASM directly into C files like we do on GCC. And it's pretty cool from that perspective. I've been trying to get this dependency thing in, though, for a while. It saves so much time, and I get bit by not having it. They wrote in Grok crunched them. Can Grok tell me how many devs they had working on this? I guess I could look at the manual. They probably have... Do they have credits in PlayStation manual still? Let's see. Iga, where are you? They don't. They have notes. Bummer. By this point, those were anonymous underlings. How sad. Sad. Too bad. So what? That's interesting. I'm gonna pull out the Terminator for Sega CD. Pretty sure. I'll see Dave Perry and Tommy Tallarico and all those people. Oh, look at my my camera stuttering. Yeah. Full list of credits in the Sega CD era. Now, I would have sworn that Dave Perry was involved with this. I know Tommy Tallarico was. Oh. Tommy Tallarico is... yeah, director of video effects. If you're not familiar with Dave Perry, I thought he led Virgin Interactive's development team, and eventually that became Shiny. It doesn't look like he was involved with this. Tommy Tallarico claims that the Terminator for Sega CD was the first video game ever with electric guitars, and he is wrong. Great game, good soundtrack. Not the first game with electric guitars. I don't even know how somebody would come up with such an idea, but anyway, that's not it. All right, let's get rid of those pesky register comments, and then I think I'll call it a day. Nothing new today, just clean up. Just getting this PR ready. Oh, now we have to rebuild 2,300 other files. How fun. How fun. after we do all that goes. I don't know. I could talk a little bit more about SciX, but I'll save that for when I get this next change set in and it's on crates.io. Maybe I'll get Sozu D. I'll talk to him about it and see if he wants to use it for the PsyQ decomp project. But I think that's it. We got, let's see how many. What I want to look for is how many include ASMs. Look at all the include ASMs that are gone. There's one because I renamed something. I can't remember why that one wasn't working for the PSP, but so we just need to subtract 2. 26 minus 2, 24 pending functions to get rid of. So as always, we're decompiling the Castlevania Symphony of the Night project. You can go to soten.z to learn more about it and join us on Discord. I haven't been on Discord in a couple weeks, but there's a lot of other people who are. So go there. Like, subscribe, comment, chat, do the things. Thanks everybody, Mitri, Dizik, Roaming, as always, for joining. Always have fun chatting. And I'll be back next week, hopefully. Funny weeks. It's the holidays, so everything's gonna be a little strange over the next couple weeks, but we'll get through it. Adios.